Welcome, Patriots. It's a new year, 2023. We've got a lot coming up, and I can't wait to tackle it. If it's in your sights, it's on my radar. We'll be airborne shortly. Welcome back, Patriots. Welcome to this episode of Ravens Radar, and it is going to be Texas-sized. We have an incredible show for you today. But first, we want to talk about some of the issues we have going on, some of the many issues that are going on in the world. And I'm telling you, Patriots, as much as we want to get discouraged, there is light at the end of the tunnel, but we can't fix what we don't acknowledge. So let's get right to it. First thing is we've got a lot of information going around. We have banks that are doing a test run of digital currency. That's what we're calling it. We're not calling it government-controlled currency, which is exactly what it is. But right now, Biden has quietly got 9 banks who have agreed to test out their communism light segment. We used to have, this is a test of the national broadcast system. Now we have a test of the national banking socialism. So they want to test out the digital currency. And I've said this all along, it's not really a test, it's a spoon feeding of communism in terms of being able to control currency, being able to manipulate currency, being able to decide who gets currency, taking currency out, putting it in. This is a social credit system pre-qualification, and we should be outraged and not allowing it. They're also quietly putting in the government-controlled vehicle. So the legislation that is going right now with Biden is to have government-controlled kill switches on automobiles by 2026. So for those of us who are paying attention, that means they can cut off your bank account when they feel like it, if you don't take this shot, if you don't do this, if you don't pay your taxes, and they'll just cut off your car so that you can't feed your family or go to work or go to the hospital. This is dangerous territory we are in, and we absolutely have to push back on it. We also have in the news today, right now, a historic moment happening in the House, whereas at the last count, Kevin McCarthy did not have the votes needed to become Speaker of the House. And this is significant for a few different reasons. I've heard a lot of terminology going on of, well, we need this, of different people in the House urging us to unify and saying we need this. I would say, who is we? Who is we that needs this? What I want to hear is the people need, the people want, because we are we the people. I am we the people. My veteran parents are we the people. Commissioner Sid Miller is we the people. And we the people, I think, are overwhelmingly saying we are tired of McLeadership. We are tired of leadership that does not uphold our values, does not follow through, does not stay the course, and does not push back against socialism. People will ask me all the time, well, is a watered down Republican better than a Democrat? I would argue no. I believe it's worse because the Democrat platform doesn't owe us anything. It is they are embracing, hugging, and singing kumbaya with socialism. The Republicans who worship with us, who get elected under the guise of saying that they're going to hold to our values, hold to the party principles, and push for limited government and more rights to the people, who continually keep selling us out and trying to tell us it's a good idea, it's necessary, are what needs to stop. That's what's more dangerous. The quantity, known quantity versus the unknown quantity. So that's my position on that. We also need to be looking at all these investigations. So now is the first day of the House-led Republican majority. Well, exciting times. It is progress. It is something. But what does that actually mean to we the people and to us? I would like to see it. This is a time for put up or shut up if I ever heard it in my entire life, because that's where we're at. People say all the time, well, what can we do? There's nothing we can do. It's too big. It's too corrupt. It's too embedded. Guys, this is the time we wrote about. This is what we talked about. This is the time to change it. We all know that if this had been 1776, we would already have tea in the harbor. We'd be fighting over the Earl Grey Harbor right now if this was our founding fathers. So now we know what we can do, and it is working. It is pushing back. We have the House. Let's make use of it, and that's going to be holding all of our Republicans to task. That means we need to ensure that they are doing the job that we elected them to do. And that means we're done hearing you talk. People talk all the time. Biden talks. It's painful. It's like screeching the chalkboard. Painful. So we are done with talk. We want to hear you talk as you are acting as you were elected to do. So hopefully they are taking this scramble that's happening on the House floor as a positive sign that this is the people telling you that we are ready for a change, and you better step up to the line. You better get in line and understand that public servant means you serve us. So we are, those of us on the front line are public servants. That's how it goes. And in that vein, I'm going to be bringing today on our show the quintessential Texas public servant. He is the most non-politician person I know. He is our Texas Agriculture Commissioner, Sid Miller, is joining us in studio today. He is a man of God. He is a principled conservative. He is a strong leader and just a really good guy. And he is joining us on Raven's Radar today. We're going to talk about how we start moving these things forward, how we address our legislative body, and what power we really have as people, and quite frankly, how awesome it is to be a Texan. Stand by, you're not going to want to miss this.
Make your Yuletide memories huge this Christmas with the Tweeter of the Free World Covfefe Table Book, the perfect gift for all seasons. Retweet to a simpler time when our flag had only 3 colors, schools had 2 genders, the border was real, and inflation was reserved for party balloons celebrating low crime, low taxes, and affordable food and gas for all. Now you can reminisce over the good old days when our only issues were Russia, fake news, witch hunts, and crooked Hillary. The Tweeter of the Free World has all of Trump's greatest tweets, including Benghazi, fake news, Barack Obama, and who could forget Little Rocket Man?
But it is much bigger and more powerful one than his, and my button works.
The Covfefe Table Book will be cherished for generations. Relive the greatest tweets of all time by the greatest president of all time. Go to thetweeterofthefreeworld.com now to get your copy for the low price of $39.99.
Make your Christmas great again.
Good afternoon, Patriots. Welcome back. I promised you epic for Raven's Radar, and we've got it. We have got the spirit of Texas in studio with us today. If Texas was a person, this is who it would be. I'm telling you, we are honored today to have Commissioner Sid Miller in studio with us today. So he is serving his beginning his third term as the Agricultural Commissioner of Texas. He is a roper, a cattleman, a rancher, not a politician. He's a legislator, a conservative, a gentleman, and everything we need in Texas. And he's here with us today. Welcome, Commissioner Miller.
It's good to be with you, Raven. Thank you for having me.
I'm going to go out on a limb and take an advisement that you've been swearing this morning.
Well, I was sworn in, actually. Sworn in is the operative word, I think.
So, yes, we had a little fun with that, Patriot. So this was your swearing in this morning, the ceremony. Fantastic. My husband and I were there. You rode in on horseback.
We sure did, absolutely.
Why did you choose the stockyards?
Well, you know, everybody gets sworn in Austin. My first time I was in the House chamber, and, you know, that was a big deal. And the second time I thought, you know, we've already done that. Let's do something different. So the second time I was sworn in, we got sworn in on the International Bridge in McAllen, Texas.
Woo.
Invited the governor and his cabinet from Tamaulipas, Mexico. And so that was a big event. But I got to think, where is the heart of agriculture? Where is the cattle business? Where are the cowboys from? It's all Fort Worth. It's all the stockyards. That's kind of my second office area. I spend a lot of time in the stockyards and meetings and meeting people from Dallas, Fort Worth area, North Texas. We'll drive in and we'll meet there. So I thought, well, what better place to have it than the historic Fort Worth stockyards?
Woo, and it was every step in the stockyards is a step in history, isn't it?
It is, it really is. And it was nice riding in a horseback. I had some of my staff behind me, was met by the Tarrant County Sheriff, Bill Wayburn, and the Mounted Patrol escorted us in. So it was different, but I really enjoyed it.
It is, for those who aren't from Texas, you have people who are from Texas and people who wish they were from Texas. This is what it is, Patriots. This was a grand display, and it was awesome, and I was so honored to be there. So in the swearing in, tell people, our listeners, what's the Ag Commissioner role? What's so significant about it?
Well, we oversee over $100 billion industry. There's a lot of working components. We have over 130 functions we perform for the state and federal government. I oversee a $6 billion budget. That may not mean anything to you, but my budget's larger than the budget of 31 governors. So it's a Texas-sized operation, and we do food and nutrition is our largest department, but we also do consumer protection, marketing, everything agriculture, pesticides, exports, inspections, you name it. It's a long list.
The lottery. You have to tell people who don't know what the Ag Commissioner has to do with the Texas Lottery.
Well, actually, we inspect ping pong balls for the Texas Lottery to make sure that they're legal and just right. We just make sure no one's monkeyed with them and trying to rig the system. You know, I don't think we've ever talked about this, but we're also the people that monitor sheets, bed sheets, thread count. A lot of women know that that's a big deal if it's 100 count or 1,500 count. So we monitor that. We're actually the people that count the threads on those sheets to make sure they're accurate.
Woo! Well, you thought he couldn't get any cooler. That is awesome. That is what people need to do. These are the kind of things I like to get out, but these are all, I mean, it's amazing and cool. But what I like is that you and I have worked together on some projects of trying to advance what's going on with Texas, but you're also a roper. You are a 23-time champion, roping champion.
Well, I just won a couple more, so I'm up to 25.
Okay, up to 25 roping champions. So what you're getting today on Ravens Radar is a real-life episode of Cowboys and Indians. It doesn't get any better than that. But I would like to tell our listeners and our viewers, importantly, because we've got some real things going on in our country right now. We've had some highs and some lows, and people are weary, they're broken down, and they're wanting to know what we're going to do to move this country forward. So I really want to talk about what you do as it relates to our country and the things that are so important. So I'd like to talk, first of all, about the land sales, selling our land to China and other foreign entities. You're taking a stand on that.
Well, we just absolutely have to stop selling our agricultural land to our enemies, giving them access to our food source. They try to put up windmills, wind generators. That gives them access to our electric grid. They buy this land next to military installations so they can, do espionage work. We know they steal secrets from the corporate world, so I'm sure they're trying to do it from the military. So it's just not smart. I mean, we can't buy land in China. We just need to use a little cowboy logic. If we can't buy land in your country, why would we let you buy land here?
And this is a national security issue. This is an issue if We have foreign entities that are buying massive amounts of land in Texas, in particular, next to our military bases, having access to our power grid. I mean, it's a national security risk, and you're on the front lines fighting this.
It really is. We've already let the Chinese buy our largest pork producer and pork processor. Smithfield Foods is owned by the Chinese.
Yes.
So, I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me.
And you also have a platform of making sure people are eating locally grown, locally sourced, foods and vegetables. And this is huge. You're seeing this has been a huge problem coming up in this year.
It really has. We've got other problems to address. Our grid is still not up to par. We've got work to do on it. We've got to come up with a comprehensive water plan for the state. We're out of water. We've got 30 million people here in the state now. We lose a farm a week to urban encroachment, but we got plenty of land. That's not the issue. We don't have plenty of water.
Correct. And we're coming out on a drought. We've had a drought here in Texas. People don't realize that. We got to protect our food source.
We're still in a drought. Hopefully we'll get out of it this spring or summer. But we've got to manage that precious resource a lot better than we're doing it.
And one thing I definitely want to address with you, because this is in your area, the border, the border, the border, the border. We talk about the border because we have to talk about it because nobody at the Biden administration is talking about it. But the border as it relates to you and agriculture and things coming across, tell the Patriots what your stand is on, getting a secure border.
Well, we work with the farmers and ranchers down there. We have very close relationships with them. We have farmers that actually farm both sides of the Rio Grande in Mexico and in Texas. It's tough to farm down there. Land values are plummeting.
Yes.
It's not safe for the landowners.
Yes.
You have to go out in pairs, just go through a gate. You get out to open the gate, somebody jumps in your truck and steals it. So you've got to, you just have to do things out of the norm that it's hard enough fighting the droughts and plagues and hurricanes and fires and hailstorms in agriculture, but then to have to fight the cartel and the human smuggling on top of that even complicates it more. It's high time we get a handle on that and get it fixed.
And you're probably hearing a lot about that property damage. These ranchers on these border towns, which were now all border towns, are really fed up.
Well, it's a daily chore to go out and check the fences because they cut the fences, drive through. They break water lines because they're thirsty and can't get that. They're going to die if they don't get some water. So they destroy stuff, and it's you get cattle out on the highway, they get run over and somebody gets hurt. It's a constant battle.
It is, and we just want to put the facts out there for people, or they're just here for a better life. Well, Americans need a good life too. Yeah. Our ranchers and our farmers need a good life too, and they need to hear that we're listening. And it's nice to have you as I wouldn't even say, I can't call you a politician because you're better than that. And you were a school teacher at one time, weren't you?
Well, actually, I was an ag teacher, vocational agriculture instructor. I taught high school FFA students.
Yes. So for those college isn't the only way, you can have trade students. But what is your take on politics and what we need from our leadership now?
Well, we need some people that'll stand up and stand firm, not give in to the special interest group. We need people. Where I'm from, we say he's his own man. They can't be bought. That'll do the right thing for the right reasons and not to get a campaign check or because, one of their supporters wants them to do it. We need steadfast, strong men. That's why I like Donald Trump so much. He was never bought, never paid for.
Correct.
You may not agree with everything he does, but he was doing what he thought was right.
And he is, you and I share that. He is a rock star. He's not out of control. He's out of your control. Difference. So that is how, and that's important for people to see. Now, I know that people are tearing at Donald Trump. That's kind of their favorite thing to do. But I know that you and I both share the same sense of loyalty. Loyalty used to mean something. And you've been in the beast. You have a story about that, don't you, of riding in the beast?
Oh, yeah. I, worked on the president's first and second campaign, was considered for Secretary of Agriculture the first time, lost out to Sonny Perdue, but was ready to serve the second administration, went through the background checks, passed, couldn't believe it. was ready to go, but of course it didn't quite work out. But
Right.
yeah, he's an interesting man. He loves farmers. He loves a family farm. He really is concerned about the farmers. He really took care of the farmers in the tariff war with China.
And he really did. This daughter of vets and Native American, I mean, he took care of Americans. He put Americans first, unapologetically, and we need that more than ever. And your feelings about, we just have to get to a point where we're already a divided nation. We now need to come together. Don't let us divide us another layer behind this. But I stand with Donald Trump. We stand with Donald Trump. Boss mode, rock star. So I hope to someday be able to deliver that. You're fired. I'm sorry that we can't do it on the House floor right now, but it looks like we've got quite a jostling going on there. But also in terms of, what are you seeing in terms of the agricultural environment? Are people now paying more attention to what you're doing here in the Department of Agriculture?
Well, I'll tell you what, there's could be some perilous times ahead of us. Food security is now becoming an issue in parts of our nation, the breadbasket of the world. When we
Right.
have food security issues, that's not a good thing. Farmers are facing a lot of new challenges, high fertilizer prices. We can't get implements fixed. We can't get parts, can't buy new ones. Our inputs are going through the roof. Electricity's almost doubled for our irrigation wells. We've got Europeans cutting farmers off of fertilizer, and it's just stupid, but it's happening. I can't believe it's happening, but it is. So we're going to have a lot of challenges ahead of us. Agriculture people, I'm afraid, and I hope I'm wrong, they're going to see just how important a farmer is in the next few years.
Well, we say that, don't we? What is the saying? If you woke up today free, thank a vet. If you ate today, thank a thank a farmer. It's really, so what, for people who are listening to this, when we say we have food shortages and supply shortages, what are they seeing right now? Because we're seeing the trickle come out right now of things that we can't get at the grocery store. You haven't seen it all at once yet, but it's trickling down.
Well, we actually saw it all at once during the pandemic. If you'll remember, there were empty grocery store shelves. You couldn't get milk, you couldn't get butter, you couldn't get eggs, you couldn't get toilet paper. I mean, a whole
Yes.
list of things you couldn't get. It was all supply chain disruption. We had plenty of it. We just couldn't get it to the people that needed it.
Right. And what do we do now? So what can we do to help you? If we see this coming, then what can our viewers and listeners do to help avoid this being as catastrophic as it's going to be?
I think all Americans are paying more attention to that now. We're ready for it. We just went through a very hard cold spell.
Yes.
People were ready for that where they weren't last time. We had over 700 people freeze to death in the last one, severe one here in Texas. But we were better prepared. We kept our grid on. Thankfully, the wind blew this time, and the wind generators worked.
Thank
And
goodness
so
for that.
we didn't have our electrical grid go down.
That is, and I'm glad that we're keeping these issues on the forefront. What's the most challenging part of what you do?
There's a lot of challenges. I think the one that's most frustrating is I have to spend a large amount of my time fighting back against my own federal government.
Amen.
We just won a lawsuit. Ken Paxton, Attorney General, represented the Department of Agriculture, and we stopped the Biden administration from mandating LGBTQ being taught and introduced in our younger grades in the public schools.
Is that let's get Joe Biden to quit?
I
Okay,
wish.
sorry.
Anyway,
I couldn't, I'll see myself out.
and he did it under the threat of not feeding the kids. If you don't do this, we're not going to feed you. So I mean, who weaponizes our kids? But anyway, we won that thanks to Ken Paxton. We got that done. I sued the Biden administration, won another time. I know we're running short on time, but basically, to qualify for this USDA benefit, you had to have a certain skin color, and that's just racist. We don't do that in America anymore.
No, we don't.
So anyway, we got that stopped. So we're having to push back. We got other things going against the federal administration.
But that's encouraging, because that's what people need to see is we're winning. Well, what can we do? We do is we keep doing it. Whatever it is, we sue them, we keep their feet to the fire. And that's what I love so much about you, Commissioner, is this is the fight we have to have. We can't afford to be complacent anymore. We have to push back, and it's working. You know, I mean, did you guys catch that part where the commissioner is saying they were withholding food for trying to indoctrinate? And it's always, we're not indoctrinating the kids. We are indoctrinating. So this is why, this is the call to action, Patriots. This is what we can do. Now we know what's wrong. Here's what we can do. Thank you for pushing back on that and other things. Do we have anything on the pipeline that Patriots need to get behind in the short term?
Well, we've got a lot of stuff. You know, we need some help at the federal and state level passing this legislation to stop our enemies from buying our farmland. Another, maybe a little smaller pet peeve of mine, but right now in the United States, foreign pork and beef can be sold as product of USA. That's just stupid. I mean, I want to know where my meat comes from.
Amen.
So we've got to get that fixed. It's been that way a long time. It needs to end. That's not truth in advertising at
Correct.
all. So hopefully we can get that
people
fixed.
would go to jail for things like that, but absolutely, I would like to know where my meat came from. Thankfully, my meat comes from you. So that's this is Sid's Raising Wagyu, and we were privileged enough to get one of them, and oh my gosh, family in heaven. But you should know where your food is coming from. You should know what your kids are being taught in the school. And now, thanks to Commissioner Miller, your kids here in Texas are getting healthier, locally sourced foods in the cafeteria to be fed. We were getting our stuff from everywhere, and we have great stuff here in Texas, and that's phenomenal. So, and you are, so what's next for you? I think you're getting ready to hop a plane for legislative.
We've got to go to a conference in South Carolina, State Agriculture and Rural Leaders Conference, and then we have the NASDA conference after that in Washington, D.C., and then we open the legislature. The legislative session starts. Ooh. So January is a pretty busy month.
It's going to be busy, but before we wrap it up, I have to ask, so is the rumor true? We have a NASCAR car?
We actually have
Texas?
We have a truck in the truck series. It's Go Texan, which is our marketing program. Go Texan number 22 truck is our truck. We've had it about 6 years. We don't own it. I say it's our truck. It belongs to Tim himself, and his son Austin is the driver. But they're Go Texan partners with us, and so the sponsors on that car are all Texas companies, and it's the Go Texan car.
Woo! That everything's bigger in Texas. So that is absolutely amazing. I just want people to be excited because it's awesome. I mean, Texas is awesome, and Sid is the quintessential cowboy and gentleman. What's the best Western movie ever made?
Oh, Tombstone.
Hands down. This is why we get along. But this has been great. So where can the listeners and the viewers find you and get involved with what you're doing here?
Best place to find me is on Facebook, Facebook.com/Miller for Texas. Come follow us. We're over 900,000 followers.
Yes.
You can go to the Texas Department of Agriculture on Facebook. We've got over 100,000 followers there. You can go to our Go Texan page, almost 100,000 followers there. And there's some other pages out there, our wine page, and we're pretty active on social media.
Fantastic. We have a wine page? I'm just now hearing we have a wine page?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we'll come more on that later, Patriots, but it's been absolutely a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us today.
You.
And Patriots, I promised you it's going to be epic. It's going to be epic. We'll be closing up.
Make your Yuletide memories huge this Christmas with the Tweeter of the Free World Covfefe Table Book, the perfect gift for all seasons. Retweet to a simpler time when our flag had only 3 colors, schools had 2 genders, the border was real, and inflation was reserved for party balloons celebrating low crime, low taxes, and affordable food and gas for all. Now you can reminisce over the good old days when our only issues were Russia, fake news, witch hunts, and crooked Hillary. The Tweeter of the Free World has all of Trump's greatest tweets, including Benghazi, fake news, Barack Obama, and who could forget Little Rocket Man?
But it is much bigger and more powerful one than his, and my button works.
The Covfefe Table Book will be cherished for generations. Relive the greatest tweets of all time by the greatest president of all time. Go to thetweeterofthefreeworld.com now to get your copy for the low price of $39.99.
Make your Christmas great again.
Well, Patriots, I don't know about you, but I am fired up. having Commissioner Miller, verbs in the sentences. This is how we do it in Texas. He rode it on a horse, came in here in studio to give Patriots some hope, and now he's on a plane headed out to continue the good work we're doing. This is what people need to see. It doesn't feel like we're winning, but we are. We can do it. We can do this. So I encourage everybody, get involved. Look Sid Miller up on social media, Team Miller, and find us on social media. We'll be having links to this that you can reach out to Sid and myself and let us know what you want us to continue fighting for. We've got the book, Raven's Mantle, is coming out soon. It's going to be available for pre-sale. And I'm going to give you the story of what it's like pre-communism in the Cold War, the Vegas massacre, having a parent inside the Pentagon, and 9/11. And I'm going to give you the perspective of what really makes a conservative warrior. And I'm going to put it raw, unfiltered, for everybody to digest. In the meantime, join us again. I want you to follow us on social media. You can find me on Facebook, Raven the Conservative Warrior, and all social media platforms, as well as Raven's Radar. I hope to see you again soon. And until then, keep fighting.